This is the basic side view eyeball that your worksheet shows you, and I'm just going to go over how to shade it. So just like you did on the shading of the pupil in the front view eye, you're going to go ahead and do this pupil as dark as you can get it. We're going to create a little bit of a highlight over here at what is the front of the iris, so you don't want to shade this part in dark. Each of your shading lines is going to head towards the center. So what I start to do is I just kind of do some lines pointing towards the center first. This is just to help me keep track of what I'm doing. Kind of scribble the shading in. Some long, some medium, some short. Most important is to get it random. And I'm kind of skipping over that front part right now. All of them heading towards the center. Darker towards the outside, lighter towards the inside. Then I'm going to make sure I have a light pencil. This is a 3H pencil. So H meaning hard, which means it's more difficult to get a dark line out of it. So as I shade up here to the light part, again, I'm heading towards the center. Trying to leave that highlight here. And then I head from the pupil out back towards this line that was pointing in. So it's all spiraling from the center. Now I'm going to work out in again. I don't want to go too dark here. I'll go back to a darker pencil. It's important to get those lines. If you look really closely at anyone's eyeball, you'll see it's not solid color. It's more these streaky lines that head towards the center. You need to make sure you get a good top-down view of what you're doing, because a lot of times if you're looking at an angle to what you're shading, the light will be bouncing off of it and you can't really see what you're doing. Go a little darker here. You really just keep playing around with it until you have that shading. I'm going to create a little darker look here just so you recognize that highlight. A little darker here. I don't want a really harsh outline there. I just want a little something where you can see the edge. And I'm going to find a 6H pencil to shade in even darker in the middle. Dark as I can get that, so it really stands out. Then when you come in to shade the eyelid, you want a bit of a lighter pencil. It's kind of lighter in here and then it gets darker as it goes back in here. Just like we shaded the lids when we did the front view, it's curved. This is your eyelid. It's not a flat piece of skin. It's curved because it wraps over your eyeball as your eyeball is round. Also, there's a bit of a shadow created under here. So if you can have a tighter curve here and then blend up into a flatter curve above it. Remember, when you shade or when you blend, you should blend in the same direction as you're shading. My Q-tip's getting a little worn down, so all I'm doing is I'm taking the cotton and kind of rewrapping it around, and it works again. Blending in the same direction as my shading. A little darker. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here, but even lighter. Again, you want to turn the paper and work in a direction that's comfortable. You can see that I'm shading again on a curve. And blend in the same direction. And then you want a light pencil, and it does have a little bit of value on the eyeball itself. It's going to be more shading back here. Again, curved. It's also not going to look as open once we put the eyelashes in. That's really, really subtle. I'm even blending up here where I didn't shade at all, just to get a little bit of a smear there, and it gives some more depth to the eyeball itself. Okay, now for the eyelashes. They're going to be really fine on the bottom. I try to kind of more squiggle them. First one got a little too long. Just a hint. And then the top ones are going to curve down over the eyeball, because you're kind of looking this direction and the eye is not fully opened. So when they come out, they're going to curve like that. I'm looking at the picture example. These ones are going to be curving kind of in front of themselves. I just kind of plan it out, and then I'll go and do more individual ones. I don't go super dark at first. Kind of pencil it in, and then I go darker. Each one is slightly triangle shaped because we're zooming in. You actually see that thickness, almost like it has mascara on or something. I'm going to come back here and go a little darker. I had accidentally used my hard pencil, so I'm going back in and doing the soft pencil, which has a B on it. It's my 6B, like that. And then you also see the eyelashes down here. They kind of wrap as that eye curves around the other side. So you do a little hint down there, and you get the depth of the eye. Now if you want to shade it fully, this is a bit of an indentation in the area above the eye. So this is a little darker, and then it gradually blends out and gets lighter and lighter as it goes away from the indentation on both sides. So I had shaded this direction on the curve before. It's okay to do a little bit of kind of crosshatch type shading where you curve the other way as well. And then this should be lighter than this right here. Another shadow under there. A little bit of blending. Kind of more of the cheek that you see back here, so I'm going to do some real subtle shading there just to give you an idea that there's more of the face going on here. A little there, a little bit here. That line shouldn't be there. And a final little blending. And there I have the side view of the eye. If you want to add the eyebrows onto the side view of eye, this is the general shape to do. And then the brows actually grow like this. I'm kind of looking at the picture and drawing the direction of the brows. I want to make sure I don't have an outline. So I had it, but I'm going to get rid of it because you want this to be more rough. And then start shading in eyebrows. They're going to be a little thicker where they start growing out of the skin and getting thinner as they go out. And it's important to not have them too perfect. Some of them are going to be growing in slightly different directions. And it'll look more realistic. They thin out as they come out here. Go back and do some that are shorter. And I did this with a light pencil, a 3H, so I'm going to go in and do just some of them a bit darker, a bit thicker. They show up a little bit more. Now this bad habit of doing that, hooking back, try not to do that. Something like that.